talking about intersectional peonies and herbaceous peonies. And let's look at what is this one.
Oh, this one's going to trip me up now. That is a tree peony, and you're going to have to help me with this one.
It's a Japanese. It has a Japanese name.
Oh, that's why it's got me, because I can't pronounce the Japanese name. So you'll have to help me with that.
Shunkoju. So I think it's a Japanese variety, a tree peony, which was also growing in my garden. I have had it about 5 years ago, and this year it flowered first time. And once it's flowered, it's big and beautiful. I remember when we were talking, we're doing the chat show, because it's still a small plant, and I had to lie down on the grass to record that chat show.
Yes, and if I remember rightly, I think by that stage it just had the remains of the flower head that's by your hand there.
Yes, yeah. So I was so excited to see the flower bud this year, and I was hoping, and I didn't know the color of it, and I just waited and waited. From the shoots came out. I think the shoots came out a little bit in February. The really red and shiny shoots, and then a lot of them dotted on the ground, and then I just watched them grow, and I didn't realize it was a tree peony until I see the woody stem. And then when previous years I saw the leaves, the beautiful leaves. They are to me they're slightly paler than the herbaceous and intersectional, but they're bigger, wider than the long, thin herbaceous peony leaves. And previous years, when I just looking at the leaves, they're just beautiful, with a hint of light blue in it. And when this year it flowered, I was over the moon.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say when you're talking about the big leaves, and you can see it in the painting of your leaves there, is that they quite often, the tree peony leaves are quite almost velvety looking with that sort of glaucous blue colour to it.
Yeah, yes. And now obviously the flower was out for about 2 weeks or so and died down. But the seed pot, I kept the seed pot there, and it just still very beautiful. Now with the leaves, again, it's stunning in the middle of the garden.
Yeah, and that's actually a nice segue to looking at that seed pod on your painting there, is that it's another question we get asked a lot about, is do I deadhead my peonies? It's one of those things. I generally, as a general rule, I would say yes, because it makes the plant put its energy into next year's buds and growth and tubers. If you're got the patience and the time, you can let the seeds develop. Though not all peonies will produce seeds. Some will be blind, but if you do produce seed, you can leave the buds on and they'll produce seeds fine. But they are a long-term project, so often it'll take 2 years for those seeds to germinate, and they need to be out in the cold. They need to be left to be exposed to the raw elements of winter, and then it will often be the second season they will germinate, and then you're probably thinking of, for a herbaceous peony, probably at least 3 to 4 years before they'll actually flower. So long-term project, but they can be done.
Yeah. Good things are always worth waiting.
Well, that is true. That's very, particularly in the case of peonies.
Yes. So for tree peonies, is there anything else that you can tell us about the tree peonies that is different from herbaceous and intersectional?
Probably the most obvious difference is that tree peony, you will leave the trunk on. You don't cut them to the ground like you would with the herbaceous or the intersectionals. You let them take their sort of natural form of a mini tree, basically. That if they start to get really woody and you start to get a bit of dieback in them, then just a bit of judicious pruning to encourage new growth. There has been issues in the past with tree peonies dying back and looking quite unsightly, but the new varieties that are coming through, the better bred varieties, are a lot more stronger and probably more resilient than some of the old varieties. There's still some amazing old varieties, but again, there's many factors in a successful tree peony, but they are worth it.
Oh, I love tree peonies. They are gorgeous. They're gorgeous.
Absolutely stunning. And so is your paintings.
Thank you. So these are the 7 peonies of the month. Then come to the 8th, which is peony of the month, August. Ta-da!
And that is amazing. Your paintings have just been getting better and better and better the whole year.
Thank you. I have to say I really enjoy doing this. I learn a lot from each month, looking at peonies, looking at their shape, and I do feel improvement as well in painting them because I feel I get to know them as like get to know someone. And with all these varieties, they have different shape, different colors. I'm trying to get the color right is a challenge to represent them. But even with pink, you have different kinds of pink, and even same pink on different varieties, they represent it differently. And for me, I always think about, okay, composition, and I want to show flowers in bloom, flowers starting to bloom, or the seed pod, or they dying back. And each form, each stage of their flowering has its beauty, and I just really enjoy doing that. So obviously we will talk about more about this peony in the next episode. What is the name of this peony?
This is a peony, it's an herbaceous peony called Green Lotus.
It's quite unusual to have a green flower in general, not to mention a green peony.
Yeah, that is true. I'm going to be very controversial here, and I'm going to make this big bold statement, and my partner's probably going to kill me for saying this. I'm not a big fan. I've never been a huge fan of green flowers. I mean, your painting is absolutely stunning, and I love the form you've got it, and it does give it a completely new beauty to my eye. I've never been a huge fan of green flowers, but my partner absolutely loves them. So I'm probably going to get grief after this for that. But we'll discuss it more next time.